Okay, guys, a very warm welcome to my lesson for today, where we are going to be looking at your mathematics. So let's see, guys, are you able to see my screen? Is it clear on your side? Can you clearly hear me and all of that? Guys,
Yes,
can
sir.
you hear me? Can you see there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then it's fine. It's fine. So this is what happens, honorable members. I did notice someone saying identities and all of that. But you might need to be aware that when it comes to identities, it all starts from or simplifying these things that we're going to be doing today's lesson. So just remain muted, honorable members. Okay, so now let's see. We have what we call a Cartesian plane. And we have what we call a Cartesian plane. And all of us, we do know very well that this is how a Cartesian plane looks like. It has that vertical line and the horizontal line, the horizontal one being the x-axis, and then that being the y-axis. Obviously, this is where we are having the origin. So let's try to put in the angles there. We obviously have this line, an angle there is 0 degrees. Obviously, the moment it does that, then it has certain angles. But the angles that we are going to be looking at are these angles in multiples of 90. So we have angle being 0 there. Trust me, here the angle is 90 degrees, and then there the angle is 180 degrees. So I'm just adding 90. So as you add the 90s, we therefore have those angles. Something very much important, these angles have got the names. Let's say angles between 0 and 90. So that means those are the angles in the first quadrant or the first quarter of that. We call those angles acute angles. And then angles in the second quadrant, we call those obtuse angles. So in short, I'm saying angles like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe up until 1889 or 89 point whatever. As long as it's an angle between 0 and 90, we call them acute angles. Angles between 90 and 180, we call those obtuse. And then reflex, we find those in the third quadrant. A reflex. And then here, if I remember very well, we refer to those as what? Revolutionary. Revolution in quadrant number 4. So now let's discuss something very much important with regards to the angles. So the angles that falls in the first quadrant, trust me when I say those angles are 90 degrees minus whatever the angle. Because when you say 90 minus, it gives you an angle which will then be between 0 and 90. So how will the obtuse look like? How will the obtuse angle looks like? That means the obtuse angle will be 90 plus. Because when you say 90 plus whatever angle, it could be 1, it could be 2, whatever angle, as long as you say 90 plus, it puts you in the second quadrant. And again, you can still say 180 minus. It still puts you in this quadrant when you say what? 180 degrees minus angle. So it's like what we are trying to do there, it is to see how we can move on to the next quadrant. So in this quadrant, that means it's going to be 180 degrees plus an angle. Because when you say 180, if you add it by 1 or whatever angle, it does put you in the third quadrant. Again, even if you say 270 degrees minus an angle, it also takes you in the third quadrant. What about the fourth quadrant? You can still say 270 degrees, you plus it by whatever angle, it will drop you in that quadrant. And again, even if you say 360 degrees and then you say minus an angle, it will put you in that quadrant, being the fourth quadrant. Remember, guys, this thing that we are doing in today's lesson is trigonometry. You must just not forget that part. I'm not sure what's happening there, but let me just the screen is not full screen. I don't know why. Let me cancel or open it again. See. Okay, now it's full screen. Okay. So, guys, remember what we are doing in today's lesson. It is trigonometry. So you will always have to remember those trigonometric ratios being sine, cos, and tan. So you see what I've done there, honorable members. We can refer to this thing as cast diagram. Cast diagram where C is there. A is in that quadrant. S is in this quadrant. T is in that quadrant. Why did we put those letters in those specific quadrants? It's because that C stands for cos. So that means if you have angle that falls in that fourth quadrant, cos of that angle will give you a positive answer. That A stands for all these three trigonometric ratios. In the first quadrant, all of them are positive. But in quadrant number 2, it is sine, which is positive. In quadrant number 3, it is tan, which is positive. So that means if the angle is in the second quadrant, cos will be negative because it's only sine which is positive in that quadrant. It may not make sense now, but we might need to do some few examples until it makes sense. It will only make sense when we do some problems. So before we start doing some problems, any questions up to this point? Or are you guys following up to this point? No questions? Any questions? Titelo, Ethan, Lavella, Mahosi, and Lady, Nomfundo Nomta, no, oh, Ne, Orphile, and Serene. Guys, are we okay up to this point?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, 100%. So now, I will continue. So remember, guys, I said everything will have to make sense when. So very quickly, let me just check the problems that we can start with. Okay, I've got something. So this is how we do it, honorable members. When it comes as a question, let's do some examples there. When it comes as a question, I always do this. And I say cast. This is the cast diagram. I always need that, honorable members. The numbers, they don't matter that much because you just know that here is 0, there is 90, there is 180, there is 270, there is 360. So when it comes as a question, they will say simplify. Simplify the following. For example, they will say cos of 180 degrees plus an angle. How are you going to simplify that? You firstly need to know in which quadrant does 180 degrees plus 4. That's the first thing that you need to know. In which quadrant does 180 degrees take you? Which quadrant does it take you to? Is it the first quadrant, second quadrant, third or fourth quadrant? Which quadrant does that angle of 180 plus take you? So you just need to know where is 180. Are we plusing or minus? Is it taking you back or next? In which quadrant is it? That angle, can you unmute yourself and let me know in which quadrant does 180 plus 4? This is where 180 is. Minus will mean back, but if it's a plus, it will mean second or next quadrant, which will be third quadrant. And in the third quadrant, you see this letter T is only T which is positive. That means cos is negative in that quadrant. Then you will say it's going to be negative. Then you just say cos of that. Then you are done. That's how you simplify. I'm not sure. Does it make sense, guys? Or is there anyone who's lost on that one?
Yes, it does make sense.
Okay, so maybe let's try to look at this one. What if now they said cos of 180 degrees and now they said minus that? How are you going to work out this one? The first step is to say, in which quadrant does that fall? Then you can check that, or you must just know that 180 minus, it takes you back. So if you know 180, it is there, then when it's a minus, it takes you back to the second quadrant. And you see the second quadrant, you have sign. It's only sign which is positive. So that means you will have your negative there, and then that becomes cos of theta. Then you are done. Okay, let's do another example. What if now you are given tan of 180 degrees, let's say plus theta? How would you then work out this one? You always start with the angle and say 180 degrees plus, in which quadrant does that fall? It takes you to quadrant number 3. You see there, 180 plus. It's in the third quadrant. And in the third quadrant, of course, tan is positive. So that means on this one, you have positive tan theta. Then you are done. Okay, let's move on to another example. Let's say now you are given sine of 360 degrees minus angle theta. Where do you start? Where does that angle fall? It's a revolution because it falls in that quadrant there. Okay, then in that quadrant, is sine positive or negative? No, sine is negative because it's only cos which is positive. So that means in terms of your answer, you are having negative sine that. So it's more like the angle is the one that tells whether to start writing positive or negative. It is that angle that tells you whether to start writing a positive or negative. And how are you going to know? You should just always remember this thing called cast diagram, meaning all ratios are positive in the first quadrant, but here only sine is positive, only tan is positive, only that it's positive. Okay, let's do another example. Let's say now we have tan of, let's say 360 degrees minus that. So again, you start with the angle and say, what is the name of that angle? It's a revolution because it's in the fourth quadrant. And in the fourth quadrant, is tan positive? No, it's only cos which is positive. So that means you must write negative, then you'll say tan of an angle. And that's how you would work it out. I'm not sure. Does it make sense, honorable members? Before I give you guys some exercises to do, does it make sense to everyone?
Yes,
Do you guys understand what I was doing there? Or anyone who's got a question?
yes, I do understand.
Yes. What is? Oh, you understand? Okay. Anyone with a question, or do you guys understand? All of you? No says they understand. Okay, then it's fine. It looks like a you guys do understand. Give you guys some problems to work on. Maybe let me insert a blank page. There, another one there. Okay. Let's say I have A, and then I'm going to give you sine of 180 degrees plus that. B, not even B, but let me jump from these questions that I'm having. Maybe let's say, let's jump on to C. So you will just comment in the comment section and say, no, that is E. E is 360. That. And then which other was E? Okay, then go to F and F. Okay. Okay. Yeah, maybe just do those four. Yeah, just do those four. So which letter are you guys going to use as theta? Let me see. Or not letter, but which sign? I'll try to see here. What are you going to use? Okay, you can just use that as angle. It's fine. So that means, for example, if your answer is sine angle, then you can just say sine angle. No, not that one, that. Or if your answer is negative, maybe you're doing question, let's say A, then it means you'll say A. If it's negative, you will then look for negative and say sine angle. That's an example. So that's how you're going to work those questions and then comment in the comment section. So you will have to do all of them, write all the answers. In one text, write all the answers. If you want to take a screenshot of this, very quickly take a screenshot, and then I'll go back to the questions that you need to work out. Take a screenshot. Okay. Screenshot taken. And then now you can attempt these questions. Guys, do you see what you need to do there? Do you guys see what you need to do there? Guys, can you see what you need to do there? I hope so.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then it's fine. Okay, then it's fine. I'll go back to the question, then very quickly work it out. Then once you're done, comment in the comment section with your A answer is equal to this, B that, depending on, I've given you A, E, F, and I. Yes. I think I need to get my charger and charger this. Looks like. Let's rotate this. Charging. Okay, you guys have 5 minutes to work on that one. Let's see, I wonder. Okay. And let's see, we have negative sign, and then we have negative tan, and then we have tan, and negative and negative. That last one. Oh no. Okay, it looks like the first three, they're the same for all of you, but let's look at that last one. You need to be careful on that one. You need to be very, very careful. So let's see. I always find it easy when I do it this way. So, okay, this thing is revolution in that quadrant. So you have that negative. You see that negative, and then now, because this takes you in that quadrant, what is sign in that quadrant? It's negative. So that means you have negative sign of an angle. Can you see? Then it means negative invisible 1 times that negative invisible 1 will give you positive sign of an angle. So that means the answer there is positive sine angle. Does it make sense, honorable members? So if you're already given a negative, then you work it out with the sign of what? Does it make sense? It looks like that the first three, they are the same. Did
Yes,
you
sir.
guys understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, then it's fine. So it doesn't end there. Let me then show you how things will generally look like in exam question. For example, they can just say, not sign, let's start with a cos. They can just say cos of 100 and oh, I see, because now I'm charging, this thing is now jamming. Okay, let me remove it. So they can say cos of 180 plus an angle divided by, they can say cos of 180 degrees minus that angle. You must always have this thing cast. Okay, then you will say 180 plus, it is reflex, and then cos there is a visitor, so that means it becomes negative cos of an angle over 180 minus, it takes you in the second quadrant, and in the second quadrant cos is a visitor, so it becomes cos of an angle. Then negative cancels with negative, cancels with negative, you have invisible 1 divided by invisible 1, which is 1. So that's how you work it out. Does it make sense, honorable members, that one, in terms of how you work it out? Okay. Looks like we are okay, then it's fine. Okay. So now, question, what are we having on the next question? So for the next question, we have tan of 180 degrees, that you plus it with an angle, times sine of 360 degrees, we minus an angle, whole of that is being divided by tan of an angle, we minus that. Okay, So let's see, you must always have that. Must always have that. So tan 180 plus, it takes us in that quadrant, and in that quadrant tan is positive. So that means we have positive tan that, you say times sine 360 minus, it takes us there. There 360 sine is negative, then inside the brackets you say negative sine of an angle. Whole of that you divide by 360 minus is in that quadrant, and their tan is negative. Then you have negative tan angle. So that means that negative cancels with that. This tan cancels with that. You just remain with sine of an angle. Then you are done. I hope that makes sense. I'll just continue, and then I will check if there are those who did not understand. Okay, and then which other one can I do? Let's see. I'm just wondering if I should do this one or if I can just give it to you to do. No, I think this is enough. I will then give you guys these ones. But okay, let's see. Number 2, this is what you need to simplify. Let's say A, you need to do sine 180 degrees. Here we plus an angle times cos 180 degrees. These things are not complicated. They are just confusing. So there's a difference between something confusing or something being complicated. And then sine. Okay, that is the first one to do. You can already start working on it. This is question B. Okay, maybe let me give you this one. Here we have minus. Okay. And then a tip that I can give you on this one is that a squared, you must always remember that it means two of exactly the same thing. That's what a squared means. This is the last one. Squared means two of the same thing. An example, when I say working on it? Do you guys see what you're supposed to do there? Guys, are you working on it? Are you guys working on it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll go back to the question. I'll mute myself in the meantime. No, 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 no. Guys, did you take a screenshot of that? Did you guys take a screenshot of that? See now this, yeah. Guys, did you take a screenshot?
No, sir, I didn't.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, maybe let's do it this way because I see that that battery is now becoming a problem. So we will turn this into a classwork. So you will use the remaining 15 minutes to work it out, and then you will have to submit via WhatsApp inbox. So let me go back to that question. Then I need you guys to then submit. one. Where are those? Okay. Here. Can you guys take a screenshot of that? Those are the questions. You see the A, B, C, and D. These are the questions that I want you guys to very quickly work them out, and then you use the remaining time. Once you are done, you submit via WhatsApp inbox. Can you guys see the guys? Did you take a screenshot? I'm about to
Yes, sir.
end it now. I also want to work them
No,
out
sir.
inside, and then I'll
Listen.
compare my answers with yours. Did you guys take a screenshot?
Yes, sir.
Okay, goodest. So I'm then going to send this recording in the channel. So in case if you still wish to check how we did those other questions, you can still watch the lesson as many times as you can so that you can be able to attempt this question. So guys, I think we will leave it here for now, but I'm going to be working out the solutions on those so that as you send, I'll compare them with mine. So let's use the remaining time to work them out. Okay, guys. What am I saying? I want to say guys and I say buys. So it looks like it's a
Bye,
combination
sir.
and buy. Okay, buys. Serene. Yes, yes.